Hi everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. Tom here with my next little video. I was reviewing the tennis racket video today because I got a reply to the racket that had the lady picture on it and I hadn't known who she was. I'll just do a little review of that on the video here just to refresh your memory in case you hadn't watched it, and then I'll come back and tell you what I found out about it. So here we have another photo decal racket, and this is a Spalding one, Davis Cup model, and on the other side of this one it has photo decal of a lady, and it's actually called the lady's model. Now this lady, I have no idea who she is. I've done some research and I can't find anything on her, but the reason I thought this was kind of strange was because the Davis Cup is not a ladies competition. The ladies competition is the Fed Cup, and so I was a bit curious as to why there was a lady on this racket and why it was the ladies model when it had Davis Cup on it. So I'm still trying to find out as much as I can on this. But this is basically if I ever find out who this lady is, this is basically another sponsored racket for that person. But it's just a bit strange that it's got Davis Cup on it. So, okay, so now you've watched that little refresher, I decided that the best thing to do would be to put a message on Facebook, my tennis collectors Facebook, and send it basically to the member who collects just tennis rackets. And so what happened was I put on a picture and I wrote down exactly what I said in the video, that this is a Davis Cup racket. It's got a picture of a woman, not sure why she's on there, blah blah blah. And within an hour I got a reply, and he wrote back to say that this was in a catalogue and it was not an actual person, it was a graphic of a lady, and she was advertising a lady's model of the Spalding Davis Cup racket. So in that reply, I thought, because he sent a picture with the lady on it, I replied saying, "Ooh, I think I've got that catalogue." And so I went to my database in Access, because I keep my database in Access, and I did a research on catalogues for Spalding, and up popped the picture of that catalogue. And so I grabbed it out here, and I'll show it to you in a second. And basically that answered my question. And I replied in the Facebook page. I said, "Look, this is marvelous. Thank you so much for this," because I had no idea who this woman was. And he said, and I said, "It's a great picture, blah, blah." And so what happened was he replied to that and said, "Yes, it's a great picture because I got it from you." And so I was a bit thrown with that. And I thought, well, hang on a sec, where did he get that picture from me? And it turns out that because we have regular meetings, Tennis Collectors Society meetings, and we do a sort of show and tell, and we have lunch and that sort of stuff, it's a great day. And it was on that last day that I'd had some catalogues out for show and tell. And he said, "This is a brilliant catalogue, can I take a picture of it?" And he did. And my stupidity hadn't realized that had I done what I've created my Access database for, is for research. And had I thought about doing a research of Spalding catalogues from my Access database, I would have come up with that catalogue. So I was a bit silly not even thinking of doing that. I just messaged the tennis collector who collects rackets. But I did get a reply, and so this has led me to thinking perhaps I'll do a little quick video on research, places to go, and I'll show you my catalogues that I have, including the one that has the picture of the lady on it. Okay, so my Access database, I'm just going to show you a little bit about it. I have 4,210 pieces, catalogued and photographed, and they've got all the information on each item as to when I bought it, what I paid for it, history about it, description, and any relevant. There's another box called research, and in that box I type in, for example, this catalogue. It would have had Spalding written in there, and it may have had the actual rackets that are in the catalogue, but it would have had a few things in there, and that's the database field that is searched on in order to find it. So I'm just going to go through how I got the catalogue, just to give you a quick update on how easy it is to find things. So this is my Access database, and in here I've got reports, and I've got tables, forms, reports, queries, and stuff like that. So what I do to find the catalogue, specific category research report is the one I choose, and in that you'll find, so I type in the category. Now in this case I have catalogues. I have catalogues for auction catalogues, art catalogues, sport catalogues, that sort of stuff. So I know that I'm looking for a catalogue in sport, so a sporting catalogue. And then within the asterisks, I can put in what I'm looking for, and in this case it's Spalding. And then I do a click on the OK, and it comes up with the actual catalogue that I was looking for. So you can here see that this is item number 1851 in my database. It's a 1940 Spalding sports catalogue showing a lady sitting on an umpire's chair, and this is this actual lady from the tennis racket. So in that number, I go down to the bottom of my screen here, and you can see here, I'll show you in the database, so 1851, and this is the catalogue. So I can tell that it's a sports catalogue. I bought it on the 9th of March 2013. I paid $40 for the catalogue. I got it at an antique show, and this is a description about it. And then in here I've got notes, so it's a 1940 sporting catalogue, and in the research notes I've got the fields of Spalding and the year. So if I'm looking for a catalogue in 1940, this one would come up. If I'm also looking for a Spalding catalogue, it would come up for Spalding as well. So that just gives you an idea. And then it has a photograph here. And so then I just look at the catalogue, and I'll show you that in just a second. So here is the Spalding catalogue that I was looking for. So this is what it looks like. It's not rather large, it's probably about half the size of an A4 sheet of paper. Really nice graphic. So this is the lady that was on the racket. It's not actually a real person, it's a graphic just advertising this one, which was the ladies model Spalding Davis Cup. Striking little thing. On the back you'll see it's got the rackets, Spalding rackets for 1940, and you can see all the colours of the decals that are on there. They've got swing tickets, and that's what's there. And on the inside, this is the inside, so it's a lot more rackets, including some ball boxes and tins. So that's that one. And if you're doing research on Spalding rackets, this is a brilliant little catalogue. This you can find out. This was 1940, so all these rackets would have been brought out 1940 or before. and they're invaluable things catalogues. So that's that one. As I said, if I'd thought about doing more research of the catalogues, then I wouldn't have had to bother the tennis club member. So research-wise, catalogues are really good for that. We've also got other areas of collecting. So you've got programs, newspapers. I've got a few newspaper clippings. There's no monetary value in the newspaper clippings, but they are great for research. So if you want to find results, for example, you'll find them in the newspapers once the tournaments are finished. The likes of Ash Barty when she got married, and then when she had the kids and whatnot, they're all newspaper clippings that I've got in my database. And there's also the members, obviously. If you're part of this Members Collectors Society, you can email them and they'll give you the answer if they can find it. There's also magazines, books, and members newsletter, which I'll show you in a second. And also the Wimbledon book. Now Wimbledon brings out a book I think it's every year. No, this is one of the books, the Wimbledon books I've got. And this is great because it tells you what's been happening since the tournament began in 1874. And the good thing about this one is that you will find, for example, here are, I don't know if you can see it, but it's players, and you'll get results, score results, all that sort of stuff. They're in there, and you've got past winners of ladies singles, men's singles, double singles, records on the players. So here we've got Hugh Doherty, which was from the beginning, 1890s, and you can tell who he beat and what the scores were. So even in back as far as the first tournament at Wimbledon. So the Wimbledon annuals, these are, I mean, it's a bloody heavy book, but in the way of research, it's a great thing to have. This little one here, that's the size of that catalogue, about the size of my hand. Tiny little thing. So this was Stewart and Steele. This is a sports supplier in Melbourne, and it's a cute little book. And also in here he's got pictures of the rackets that he was selling. So this is for example the C. Stewart Model Deluxe. That's this one, and it was 70 shillings to buy that new. So that's the racket. This is C. Stewart. This is the guy who professional tennis champion of Victoria. So that's Victoria as in the state of Victoria in Australia. Learn how to play tennis correctly. It's got that in it as well. And then tennis, what's available. See, these are the rackets that are available in the shop at that time. This is the accessories. So these are tennis balls, what you can buy. So you can get a set of Dunlop tennis balls at 18 shillings for a dozen. So that's 1 and 6pence each in old money. Tennis nets were £1. Is your racket warped? Don't discard it. We can straighten it so they can put it in there. Tennis lectures. This is a great little catalogue, so that's a good one. This is Stuart Surridge. This is another catalogue. Again, it's the this is the new Iris lawn tennis racket. That's the name of the thingy. So that's catalogue. Again, tennis rackets. They brought out how much they are, and where the shop is, you can go and buy it. So they're usually in colour, which is great because then you can actually tell what the sports catalog, what the racket colours are supposed to be if they're not the best. This is a catalogue for Slazenger. This is 1919 plus the price list. And this, if you remember, this is the Demon, the racket that I had, Slazenger Demon. So that's the one that was on my wooden racket. And again, tennis rackets. There's no pictures in this one, but this has prices of the tennis rackets for 1919. So that's another one. Quite, that's just in greens, but again has all the rackets. Fold out one, so you can get the names of the rackets. You can also get how much they were. Because it's not in color, you can't see what the design's supposed to look like. That's that one. This one is particularly nice. This is a Schlesinger catalogue as well. But this is, if you can see it shine there, this is all a silver finish they put on this Davis Cup catalogue to give it the sheen of the cup. Really nice colours in that. Again, this is the rackets, the names of the rackets, how much they were. And this one here on the back. So that is the challenge racket. And a little write up about Schlesinger balls. So that's a nice catalogue. Okay, so this one is a tennis strings manufacturer. So this is slightly different. This is not rackets. This is tennis strings that you could purchase from this company, Pacific Strings and Groups. And again, this is a really interesting catalogue. Tells you all about them, how they're made, strings for professionals, different color of strings, and then it tells you why the different colors are there. Because of the strength and recommended pulling tension. And then of course we've got groups for the rackets, different colors. And then maintenance articles on how to look after the grips and stuff. So that's a string manufacturing one. Melbourne Sports Depot that used to be in Melbourne. This is their catalogue. That's Kooyong Tennis Club. And this has got Spalding rackets, Schlesinger rackets, Alexander rackets. Alexander were the ones from Tasmania. If you remember, I did the little write-up, the little information piece on that. We have tennis balls. So this is all equipment, how much it's for sale, what they've got on offer. You've got tennis bags as well for putting your rackets in. And then you've got shirts, pullovers, shorts. So they sold all that. So it's 59 and sixpence for a pair of shorts. White, of course. This is Crack Shot. These are Crack Shot rackets. So this is a company. Now this is the size of this racket, the size of this catalogue. I mean, it's a tiny little catalogue, but it has colour pictures of the rackets in there. It has how much the price list is again. So if you've got a Crack Shot racket and you want to know how much it was, what the name of it was, what's the colour should look like, these are all in here. So this is the Crack Shot Strongbow and the Crack Shot Rocket. The leader, the flyer. So these are all great research for them. Klipspringer were also tennis strings, tennis guts. Now, I'm not sure if you know Hartley sports stores in Melbourne. So Hartley's do their own tennis rackets. And these are the names of their rackets and how much they were. and what the colours are like. This is a slightly larger Hartley's tennis catalogue, but it's pretty much the same. Rackets, prices, the names, points to consider when choosing a racket, and what gut you should be buying for it. And this is a list of the Hartley rackets and how much they were. And again, all service, so if you want to take them back and get them serviced. And so here is, don't let this happen to your racket, buy a press. I've got some quite badly warped rackets, but nevertheless. Tennis balls as well, so you can find out how much the tennis balls were, what they were called. Now this is an interesting thing. This is a fountain coat marker. I have one of these, and it's basically a pump. You can see the pump at the side there, and it's a foot pump. You pump up the pressure and then it sprays out the nozzle, and it sprays between these two wheels to get the exact white straight line. So you walk around with that, and yeah, got one of them. Prices, right. Racket restringing is a job for the expert. So there you go. So you can take it back to them. Tennis cases. Now these, I've got 6 or 7 of these tennis cases. They were fitted to put the rackets in and some balls. I had a little space for clothing and stuff like that. So these are quite nice. And then they've got tennis shoes. So again, they've got everything in this catalogue. This is a little insert that's in this original catalogue. Little insert. And so this is the racking string. It is for professionals. All the tennis rackets, prices. No colours obviously, so you don't know what they're supposed to look like. Tennis nets for sale, and tennis scoreboards. So you could buy the scoreboards from them for the tennis club. And I don't know if you can see this, but they also sell club trophies. So you could buy a trophy from them as well. And you just get it engraved for presentation. This is a Hartley Sports Store catalogue. This is a tennis player wearing a berry, so that's probably a bounding basque. So these ones are in colour. Tells you what they're like, how much they cost, 75 shillings. This is 1934, this catalogue. And again, there's the tennis court marker. Really interesting piece. This is just a 2-page catalogue. This is from Edwards, Bridport. So this is Edwards. He supplies tennis nets and tennis posts. And you got the tennis court marking set. So this is how you can mark out your tennis court. And the tennis net posts, tennis poles. And then here we have a Brewer tennis catalogue. Again, tiny little catalogue. And that's just a little 2-page one. But it's got the name of the racket, it's got the price on here. And you can see this is a flat top racket, slightly flat top. And again, you'll see here where it's got the stringing pattern. This is a diagonally strung racket. But the sweet spot is still the same for that. So that's all there is to that catalogue. A very, very small catalogue. But this one is Billich. So Billich is an artist. So I have one of his. They're not painting, they're prints. Okay, so there's a tennis one in here, which is by Charles Billich. He's an artist in here. Spalding catalogue. Sports good retailer. So again, this has all rackets for it, names, how much they would have cost, lots of stuff. He's got some stories in here, and this is quite a good little advert for Clip Springer, which are tennis caps. Got a nice little thing, and Spalding. So it's balls, two tins of tennis balls and 6 loose balls in a box you could buy. This one is a Australian New Zealand sports goods retailer. This is from New Zealand. So it's got Headleys on the back of this one, but it's got the nice little. It's a little pull-out catalogue from Spalding. And that, the other half of it is in here. So it's got all the rackets, the names, the prices, colours. So really interesting things, catalogues. This is the Australasian sports goods dealer, this one. And obviously sells more than just tennis. This one here, this has a hard court tennis ball. So that's just a little write-up about the feature of playing on hard courts and about the hard court tennis balls that were produced for it. And then there's some stories in here from players and stuff like that. So there's another. This is a nice advert for Spalding rackets. That's Jean Barotta. And here is a catalogue of the Alexander rackets. So these are the ones that are made in Tasmania. So this is invaluable for getting the names of the rackets that were made by Alexander. Again, you'll see all the colours, the names, how much they were. And this has actually got an amendment to the prices attached to it. So even though this catalogue was put out, when it was put out, there was an amendment to the prices. And so, as I said in the racket video, Alexander were celebrating 100 years not so long ago. Had the exhibition at the Tasmanian Tennis Museum. This is another little tennis book. I think they're getting smaller as we go along here. So this is Alcock and Pierce. This is Melbourne. This is not in colour, but it has the rackets that they have for sale, how much they are. Got a 6 months guarantee with the rackets you could get from them. You could take them in for repairs. Special discounts to clubs, so you could buy the balls, the nets, and everything from them. And prices, waterproof covers. handy little size, I guess, if you were taking it to the club, putting it in your sports bag. So yeah, so research-wise, catalogues are really good. You can get a lot from there. So that plus the Wimbledon book is a good thing to have. So when you look at other stuff, so what have we got? We've got catalogues, we've got programs. So here's a program, for example. So this program is from 1912. It's a souvenir program from 1912. It's the International Lawn Tennis Championships and tour of the first British Isles team. I will show you a picture of the British Isles team. This is them, 1912. Enough said there. And Slazenger rackets advertising right up on the tennis courts. This is a match in Melbourne. So this is Australian Open. It's got adverts, so it's even got chocolate adverts. This is a player from the United States, Beals Wright. 1911, this is A.W. Dunlop. So, this is the Lawn Tennis of Australia Association. This is the council. These are the board members of the Lawn Tennis Association of Australia in 1912. Lots of moustaches there. There is 1911 Australian representative Horace Rice. This is what he wore playing tennis. And so this is the British Lawn Tennis and Squash from 1955. So you can find in here racket adverts, obviously, for that. You can also find court favourites. You can buy these to make. Simpsons. If you want to go on holiday, then here we go. Let's go to Scarborough. Down the seaside. This one here is lawn tennis in Australia. And so this is 1936. So they get long trousers and some shorts. This magazine was sixpence. So these has got stories in it, advertising, information about championships that were on, who won, who took part. Brewer rackets, so this is a stand that they would have been advertised in the shops. And I might do display stands, might do a video on that one day. And then this is a sport magazine, so this one shows Ken Rosewall and Lou Hode, Australian tennis player. And this is Jack Kramer's dream for the tennis twins, so they were just the tennis twins, they're not twins as such, but they're the two Australian rivals that were always played against each other or together. So this was Jack Kramer's dream for them. So he was doing tournaments, and he was trying to get big name players at the time into his tournaments. There's another one, World Sports Tennis Match. So this one here, World Sports Tennis one. This is Althea Gibson on the front. She was a black tennis player from America. So there's stories in here about Wimbledon by some of the players. There's also things in here on specifically on Althea Gibson. So there's a story in here on Althea Gibson, the Gibson girl. And Dunlop adverts. So again, some adverts for sports stuff. And so this is an interesting article. This is clothes. So this is what women used to wear when they played tennis. And then it went to this, of course. So here's a tennis championship program. This is a Pro Tour 1965, the International Professional Tennis Players Association. So programs like this tells you who is taking part in this program, in this tournament. You then would probably, on some occasions, I've found catalogues to have results written in them by the people who own the catalogue. But this is pretty much what the Australian Open catalogue is like. You'll have the players that are taking part, they'll have a little write-up about them. So this is not new, this is 1965. So this is just telling you, this is the player, what country he came from, a little bit about him, when he's born, what he's played. You'll get some adverts in here for clothing. And this picture here of Rod Laver using Dunlop tennis rackets and holding that cup. And then, interestingly enough, a cigarette advert. Wasn't considered bad to be smoking. But of course, we all know the difference now. So. Here's an advert for Spalding tennis ball box. So these things like this, I would put into my research field that you saw at the bottom of the screen. So if I'm looking for a Spalding advert, it would have the catalogue that it's in. I might even put the page in there. And so then I would be able to pull out this catalogue and have a look at the advert. So I would do a research search on that. That would bring up this advert. I could then compare it to a tennis ball box that I do have. It tells me this is 1965, so that's when that box would have come out. And this one is the Royal Botanic Society. So His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness Prince of Wales were patrons of the Royal Botanic Society. This programme was sixpence. It's the 5th Harcourt Lawn Tennis Tournament, and it was played in Regent's Park. So this is a British one. This is 1928. Nothing spectacular about the front. Got an advert in the back for Wimbledon's Choice, Slazenger lawn tennis balls. It's got various adverts. So you got an advert here for a lawnmower and tennis rackets, tennis nets, Spalding, practical gardening for women. It is the Botanical Society's program, so I'm guessing that's why. And these are, so this one has players who they were playing against to get into the next round and stuff like that. So there's no, oh it does. It has scores in here. So this is an example of how this is good research, because you can find this tournament, who played against each other, what the scores were, and eventually who reached the final and won. So these are very good things. So there's the Dozy tennis shirt. The dozy shirt fits the body. Right. Knitted in fine white merino. There you go. And so you can buy marquees and tents as well. And here is an advert for Mappin and Webb. So Mappin and Webb were silversmiths who provided trophies. So this is the first advert I've seen of Mappin and Webb, where you can buy your trophies and how much they were. So a sterling silver cup, 13 inches high, was £15 and 15 shillings. So that's 15 guineas, isn't it? Marshall and Snellgrove. Now this here we go. This is just for you. Tennis ball, tennis clothing. There you go, ladies. Put this on and have a game of tennis. Very nice. Civilized. So when was that? 1928. So that's what you would have been wearing in 1928. Books and autobiographies and all that sort of stuff. There is another source for research. So if you can get a book, read it. You may have noticed that Yvonne Goolagong was on television not so long ago. It was a very interesting series. I think it was only about 3-4 episodes, but very interesting. But I have the Yvonne Goolagong colleague book called Home. It's signed by her, and I haven't read it. But now I want to read it because the TV series was really quite an eye-opener. But this book here, this one is from, this is the oldest book I've got. So this is from 1897, this book. So this is Lawn Tennis, the Oval Series of Games. And it's by W. Badley. And so again, these are interesting because you can see the original adverts for those years, 1800. So Beecham's pills, I remember Beecham's powders when I was a wee lad. And so here is the service position to take up when you're ready to serve. Again, that was in 1897. And so we have here, so it's got history of the game, the Lawn Tennis Associations, the development of play, the spread of lawn tennis, the grass court, accessories of the game, strokes, how to play the strokes, practice playing, training, ladies play. So then there's chapters on the umpire, the championships, the covered court, and so on and so on. There's a lot of stuff in here. So you'll find here, this is tennis court. So this is Major Winfield's Spharis Decay. It was a distant cousin to the one I played. And so it would have been on what was called an hourglass tennis court. And so the last thing I've got here is, as a member of the Tennis Collectors Society and Tennis Heritage Australia, we actually, the British Tennis Collectors Society, the British one, have their own magazine called the Tennis Historian. So this comes out 3 times a year, and it's the official journal of the Tennis Collectors Society, but this is the UK Tennis Collectors Society. So this is where all our members, we can send an article and have it printed, and people will come in, do stories of things from their collection. I've got one going in the next issue. And so it's very interesting. So it tells you, so for example, this article here is about the books that have come out in Wimbledon. This one here is the story of the Slazenger Demon racket, which is the one that I have with the fishtail handle. This is actually the one I have, the fishtail handle. So that's a story on that racket. So that's handy for me to have. And then of course there's other pictures of Slazenger rackets. And if you remember rightly, the little 4-ball tennis ball box. So these are the Slazenger rackets from the 60s and 70s. And that's the little ball box that I've got that I showed you in Tennis Balls Collectible one. So these are the tennis historian. Research, invaluable, and with me I've got an online access database. I can do that research, find out. So I would put relevant words into the research box in order for me to do a search, and then it will come up with anything related to that. So if it's a ball, if it's a ball box, if it's a newspaper advert, whatever, it will all come up in that one report, and then I'll print it off and have a look at it, and then I can get some insight on what I'm putting on these little videos. So thanks for joining me. Look after yourselves, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.